Hello, hello! If you, like me, had the pleasure to be at Embedded World, for sure you saw merry up-to-nights running around and peddling the RP2040, aka Raspberry Pi Pico. Well, I recently had a consultant client who had a one-off job and I needed one Pi Pico W. And of course, procuring the component was difficult as hell, because this is only the normal Pico and everything else is out of stock. But either way, I found a supplier, namely Elector, and here I wanted to show you quickly what's inside the box. Be that as it may, here we have the box from Elector, as was delivered to my office in Hungary, and we see here in the back, we can tear it open. Out comes the packaging material, and then at the bottom we find the actually Pi Pico W, which is kind of glued in, and you see here it comes in a tape on reel packaging. And well, because I was at Embedded World, like just about anyone else, I got like 50 boxes containing the normal part, and you see here they claim everything is in stock, blah blah blah, crap. Either way, as it is, here we have the original one and here we have the new one, and we see by and large the physical form factor is the same. The most important difference is here on the new one we have the wireless module from Infineon, and here in the top there is the antenna area. And yes, one more interesting aspect, you see here in the back we have the debug connector. On the new model, the debug connector is here in the middle because the area in the back houses the antenna. And well, if we would put the connectors here where they were before, the antenna's ground plane would not be so efficient. And yes, I could not restrain myself to turn the two things over. You see here the mounting holes on the new and all the old unit are in the same position, and yes, generally they all look pretty much the same, even to the positioning of the test points. Because some of my followers do avionics and drones and stuff, let's weigh the two. Let's start out with the new one, and as we see here, we get 3.51 grams. And now we take the original older one, the OG as they would call it, and now we get 3.02 or so. So as you see, there is a 0.5 gram penalty for the new Wi-Fi module. And no, actually there is one more little change. You see here in the back we have this light emitting diode, and on the normal Raspberry Pi Pico it is connected directly to the main microcontroller. On the RP, this edition, on the Pico W, however, it is connected to the wireless module for some reason, and so the code that you need to use to change the LED state is slightly different, as you can see right now on the screen. This is not something particularly big, but it still is something you should keep in mind. And yes, of course, if you want to use one program on both types of Raspberry Pi Pico, well, this is what the documentation has to say. I know this video is kind of short, but there really isn't all that much to say about it. Or well, there would be. For example, that Infineon in the datasheet claim that the module can also do Bluetooth, which they at Raspberry Pi apparently have never heard about. But be that as it may, here's the Pico W, you've seen it here, and well, you still know that GigaDevice and Espressif also exist, don't you? Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and see you again soon.